Jessii Vee, and in today's video I'm telling you a true horrifying story of one of the creepiest killers from history. This woman turned her victims into cakes. I could not believe it when I found out about this story. But first, as you can see, I have a new backdrop behind me. It's kind of cool. I like this pattern. It looks like a witchy house in an enchanted forest, so I'm living for it. Also, my shirt says Keeper of Dark Tales because I love horror stories. So I'm going to be announcing the winner of last month's backdrop. That contest was over on my Instagram account. And the winner is Trinity Atkinson. So congratulations and thank you to anyone else who entered. And if you want to win this awesome new backdrop, all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel and turn your notification bell on, and then head over to my Instagram. Once again, it is also Jessii Vee, and DM me the cake emoji, okay, with the theme of this video. And if you would like an extra entry to win, head over to my vlog channel and comment the cake emoji on one of our recent videos. And I'll be announcing the winner very, very soon. Okay, so this is a very crazy video. Let's get into it, starting with this woman's childhood. And by the way, her name was Leonarda, and I'm gonna butcher this last name. I'm so sorry. I'll put it on the screen. Leonarda Cianciulli? And like I said, she was said to have committed the most atrocious crimes in history. She would bake her victims into cakes and soaps. But before we go there, let's take a look at what she was like when she was a kid, because people aren't born evil, are they? But honestly, after finding out about this woman, I wonder if they are. Leonarda grew up in Italy and had a tough upbringing, with her father being a drunk and her mother being abusive. And she tried to unalive herself with a noose when she was only 13 years old, but ultimately failed, leaving these awful bruises all over her neck. And what was worse is that her mother saw that she did this but did nothing about it. She actually pretended not to notice, and so she tried again a year later, but also failed the second time. Now, back in the early 20th century Italy, the only way for a teenage girl like Leonarda to escape an awful home life was to find someone to marry. And her mother really wanted her to marry someone rich, but she instead chose a grocery store clerk named Raphael. And so, of course, her mother was furious, and her mother actually cut her off from the family and disowned her completely. Now, Raphael was a loving, supportive husband, but they had some awful tragedy happen to them. She had a total of 17 pregnancies, and 3 of them resulted in a miscarriage, and 10 of her children died in their childhood, which is like unheard of. So only 4 of her kids made it to adulthood. Leonarda got a job at the bank as a janitor, but one day she attempted to write herself an account filled with an exorbitant amount of money and went to jail for fraud. And when she finally got out of jail, she moved her whole family to Macedonia, where she was taught how to read palms and took up the art of fortune telling. And she began to gain a reputation of being like a wise, motherly figure in her community, telling the fortunes of all the young women who lived there. And she even visited a fortune teller herself, one of which would give her a pretty scary prophecy. This fortune teller told her this, in quote, "In your right hand, I see prison. In your left, I see a criminal system." So keep that thought, because we're gonna come back to it, obviously. She became obsessed with everything about the supernatural and was very superstitious, and people believe that's what drove her to believe in human sacrifice. And her position as the town's sweet, motherly figure would come in handy. It was useful to her plot because young women were constantly coming to her house so she could tell them her fortunes, so she was always alone with people. Her first victim was named Faustina Seti, and Leonarda told the woman that she had found her a husband but couldn't tell anybody about the wonderful news. So when Faustina came to see Leonarda, they celebrated with a glass of wine, which was poisoned. And I'm trying to figure out how to say this in the least gruesome way so it's safe for YouTube. Leonarda drained all of her blood and put it into a bowl, and then put her body into a chemical called lye, and then disposed of it in the sewage. The blood was then baked in an oven, which dried into a powder that she mixed with regular flour, sugar, milk, and whatnot to create delectable little tea cakes. And these tea cakes would be fed to not only her neighbors and numerous friends, but she and her husband would eat them as well. And her husband knew nothing nothing about this, okay? He also thought she was sweet and innocent. So for the few weeks following the initial murder, dozens of people in the town would snack on the blood of Faustina Setti. They were literally eating her in the form of a cake. And this really reminds me of Sweeney Todd with the pies, but obviously that's fictional and this is very real. Her second victim was named Francesca Soavi, and Leonarda was able to lure her into her house, offering her a job. And her demise was identical to the last one. She was made into crunchy tea cakes and served to all the ladies who came to visit and hear their fortunes. And for her last victim, she really took a risk and went after a famous opera singer named Virginia Cacioppo. But this time, instead of making her into a cake, she made her into bars of soap and would gift them to her clients, and she even said that she used the soap herself. Now, she couldn't keep up this whole thing for long because people did become suspicious of her because literally they were last seen going to her house. Like, how long could she really do this? And she initially denied these accusations, saying that she was the town's sweet-hearted old woman. How could she hurt a fly? So they moved on from her and the authorities started going after her husband. And once she saw that her husband was about to go to jail, she fessed up everything because she knew he was kind-hearted, and I think he was the only one she actually loved. So she told the cops everything. Every gruesome last detail. And in 1946, Leonarda went to trial and was found guilty on 3 counts of murder, and her sentence would mirror exactly what the fortune teller had told her years before. 33 years in a prison and 3 in a criminal asylum. And that's how this tale ends. It is terrifying. I believe she died in the 1970s, which doesn't feel like that long ago. I know it is, but it still doesn't. Like, my mom and dad were alive when she died. Anyways, guys, if you like me talking about these creepy killers from like the early 1900s, give this video a thumbs up and let me know. I could definitely do more. I don't like talking about like current criminals. It just feels too fresh and new, and I worry about like how like respectful and stuff that is, but I love talking about stuff from our history, so let me know. Anyways, don't forget to head over to my Instagram to send me the cake emoji, which now thinking about it sounds a little weird, but let's stick with it. But anyways, I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!